And we are live. What's going on, art enthusiasts and change makers? This is another week of Art for Change podcast. This is Soulful Sunday. Yeah, we got an interview for you today. But before we do that, let's go through the cast. Today, I am Mr. Sapiosexual, your host, and my co-host.
You already know it's your boy Be You, because that's all you gotta do is be you.
Yes, every day of the week, baby. Man, I had a Marshall above me. What's going on, Playboy?
Just thinking inside the box.
Hey, think inside the box, but hopefully you're outside of it thinking in. Hey, Lady Alba, how you doing down there, love?
I am wonderful. I'm in company with all my men's.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have an interview with a artist and a creative curator from New Haven, Connecticut, Miss Kiore Andrews. How you doing, love?
Hi.
Hi. Good to have you with us.
Great to be here, for real.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so all right, Kiore, how your day been? How your week been?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. I'm pushing through though, so
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Okay,
wrong with
so
that.
so tell us, yeah, tell us some of you're from Connecticut. You're based out of Connecticut?
yes, I'm based out of Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut to be specific.
Okay, and then what made you move there?
So I was actually in a program called the Mirror Corps. I don't know if you guys are familiar, or Peace Corps. They're pretty much the same thing. I just kind of wanted to do something different with my life. I wasn't in the best spot last year, and I knew that like fulfillment was the goal. So I needed to think of things that were fulfilling. So I'm like, I want to help people. I want to do something creative, and I didn't know how to find that. So then I ended up finding a Mirror Corps. That process was pretty quick. Moved to Connecticut August of last year, and have been here since then. So.
Sounds good. Phoenix person said, "Hey, everybody. Good evening."
Hi.
Hey, Phoenix person.
We see
How
you.
are
We
you
see you,
this evening?
Phoenix. BU might have had a connection issue. He'll be back with us shortly. Miss Kior, lady, Montana. I mean not Montana, but Matt Hatter Marshall. You want to run through the first set of questions, brother?
I get you.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
share your journey into the arts and what inspired you to become an artist or educator?
Yes. So my journey began as a form of survival for me. Art is usually how I process my emotions, how I speak sometimes when I can't articulate everything I'm trying to say. And it's really just been a safe haven for me. Over time, that turned into a tool of empowerment for myself, for other people. And I ended up becoming an educator to kind of offer that sort of support. In order to receive that back, I had to give it. So I had to give it to myself first. And then once I learned how to do that, that's when I wanted to actually take what I learned and what I gave to myself to other people so that I can create safe spaces for young people to express themselves without the shame and the guilt that comes with that.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
How does your identity as a Black woman influence your artistic practice and the themes in which you explore your work?
I think my work deeply shapes my identity as a Black woman, as a Black queer woman. I often explore themes like rage. Healing is definitely something that's important to me, and I'm also looking to find ways to connect back to my ancestors as well. So ancestral connection is important to me, and through all of those lenses of what it means to be Black and a femme person in this world, I usually use that as my expression. And those themes just seem to keep coming up throughout this entire time of just learning to become more of the person I'm looking to be, the artist I'm looking to be, and the educator that I'm looking to be.
That's a very noble thing.
Thank you.
What role do you believe art plays in social change, particularly in the context of in the Black community?
Many roles, to be honest with you, especially through music, storytelling as well. I honestly don't think it's just about expressing yourself. I think that we use our art as a way to protest, as a way to show resistance, as a way to remember the things that we may have forgotten, and that's like a whole nother story. But I'm very, I'm a spiritual person, and so I believe in like ancestral connection, like I was saying before. I believe that art is part of the key to unlocking the memories that we once had and how we can get that back, as well as showing the visions that we do have for ourselves, for our community, etc. And specifically in the Black community, I feel like we documented our existence and our resistance through the art that we make. We use our truth, we use that to speak, and we actually can't express ourselves in the way that we would prefer. And I think it's really just a form of action that we're calling to make things shake essentially and find our way back to ourselves and then find our way back to the communities that, were unfortunately built down or broken down, excuse me.
So it's about finding your roots.
Exactly.
Can you describe a specific project or exhibition that you feel best represents your vision as a curator?
Yes. So when I came out here, I I ended up organizing this event within like 3 weeks. It's still so insane to me. It was called Roots: The Power of Love and Resilience, and it was basically a creative showcase. I had about five different artists, including myself, who came and kind of just showed themselves through their art. They were showing their own ways of vulnerability, what that looked like to them, and it was mainly just a way to intimately come together and, like I said, connect to our ancestors, connect to vulnerability, and express ourselves in whatever authentic way that is. And honestly, it was a beautiful night. And that was pretty much the thing that told me that this is what I need to do. This was something that I had a passion for, and it's something that gets me excited, and it still does. So I was really excited about that.
Can you give me?
That's fire.
Yeah, thank you.
So that was your guiding light?
For sure. That I came to Connecticut not knowing that any of this was going to happen. Like, if you were to look at my portfolio today, a lot of that stuff on there wasn't happening before I came to Connecticut. Some of it was, but a lot of it was not. And that's because I think being in Connecticut, it's shown me what I need to be and what I need to do in order to get to the place I'm trying to go. So I just feel like that was that moment for me.
You're called to service.
Yes, definitely am. Yeah.
How do you incorporate cultural heritage into your teaching methods and curriculum for your students?
I used a lot of affirmations. That was important. We had power words, and I had all of my grades do those every morning before we started class. I was slowly but surely teaching them different ways of emotional intelligence, trying to center cultural pride as well into my teaching. And because it was the first time being a teacher in that specific way, I didn't really go as deeply as I wanted to, on top of everything else that I had to experience being in that environment as well, which is a separate story. But it was a little difficult because I didn't get to do all that I wanted to do. But when in the ways that I did make sure that I was centering the cultural pride, the affirmations, and showing them how to be emotionally intelligent and self-regulate. So I did that through storytelling, through movement, showing them that art isn't just a visual thing. There are multiple different ways to see art, and you can even be artistic with the way that you express yourself.
Yes.
And that's definitely something that I try to embed in their minds, and I'm grateful that I had the space to do that because it was a private school, so we had a leeway.
Kudos to you for that, for sure.
Thank you.
So you were handcuffed by restrictions?
I don't think I was as much as maybe like a private art teacher would be, but I was in a space that was predominantly white and traditionally thinking, and so it wasn't what I imagined, but it wasn't the worst either, I'll say.
Okay. You get the next set, my friend.
Okay, so I heard you say the word expression or express yourself a lot, like already. So and you're proud of expressing yourself pretty much. So I got a question. With your clothing, because you're like you're an outcast, which is great actually. And like, is that a way of expressing who you are?
It's funny that you say that because we used to see the word outcast as like a bad thing, but in reality, like you have to.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
But yeah, I do think that I use my clothing. Anything that I do personally is a way as a way to like resist what I've been forced to believe, what I've been forced to do or speak or act like. So for sure, and my fashion is definitely just something that I have realized that didn't have to necessarily fit a certain standard. I don't have to make it look a certain way. It doesn't have to be to this or to that. It just has to be whatever I feel like it needs to be.
Okay, so with that being said, like, have you like ran into any like challenges or like any bumps in the road, any hiccups, like, and it's like, yo, anything that made you want to quit or anything?
As far as when I like the way that I dress and how that process goes, or are you saying like as an artist?
It well, dressing is the art part, yeah. So, but yeah, like everything. Any bumps in the road for you that made you want to quit, and you was like, yo, I got over that bump in the road?
Yes, definitely. With everything for sure. I just feel very deeply, and so when certain things happen, it affects me more than like the average person. And so when those bumps would come, it would feel like I was never going to get over the bumps, and I was never going to get to the point where I am today and where I'm trying to go. And I just kind of had to remind myself what the reason was, and I had to remind myself why I don't want to be in the space I'm in now. Because if I stay here, then what's the point? I did all this for what? So I definitely have had the bumps. I still am having the bumps, but I'm just continuing to move forward and be resilient, essentially.
Okay, I like that for you. That's what's up. Community wise, how do you see yourself helping the community?
I've been calling myself the bridge lately, so I'm a connector.
I like that.
I bring people together. I bring experiences and people together, and I try to find ways to not just help myself but help other people. And I think that's definitely one of the key ways. I think that once I actually start to put my art out there more, people are going to feel seen. They're going to feel like what I have to say is resonating with them because they also have this experience that can relate to it. And I think that my art will also be that form of protest that I was saying before, that form of resistance, that form of care that people need to see, people need to understand and start to embody within themselves. And then once we do that, I think collectively we can change. So I think that's my part in helping the community.
Have you thought about ways of like promoting yourself and like, or how is that gonna transpire?
So I've thought about this in more ways than one, and that's what's the most overwhelming for me right now, just trying to figure out what the best route to go is. But I think it's just having opportunities like this to be able to express myself freely, being able to have regular conversations with people in the actual community that I'm looking to be in, curating the events that I'm looking to have so that people can feel like they have a safe space to come to. And, once they get a chance to know me, most people, not to be cocky, but most people tend to like gravitate towards me and genuinely want to like see the vision that I'm seeing, or they already see it themselves, and we're able to put our heads together and work together. Like I'm already collaborating with so many different people. So I think continuing to just uplift each other and myself, I'll definitely make what I want to happen in the community.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I like that. Keep doing what you're doing, Queen.
Thank you.
You spoke on people gravitating towards you. Did you gravitate towards anybody to start your process, like a mentor or anything like that?
Oh yeah. I definitely, I have had many mentors. I've gravitated a lot towards a lot. I've had some just come to me, and it kind of just worked out. And I think that with all of the mentors that I've had, they definitely shaped me into the person that I am becoming. So, yeah, but I don't have one specific person. It's multiple.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, all right, do you have a specific person who stands out to you? Okay, all right. So, what motivates you, like in general? What motivates you?
What motivates me most is my whys, and that's doing this because I want to continue to pour into the community. I want us to take back our power. I want us to truly be the human beings that we need to be in order to genuinely see some sort of change happen in the world. Those are definitely the biggest ones. And then besides that, it's how do I want to be in 5 years from now? Do I want to sit here and continue to deal with the things I'm dealing with? How do I want my family to feel? How do I want to feel? And I really try to just pay attention to those things. And, it pushes me. There are days when it's hard, but it pushes me. Definitely pushes me.
And so that inspiration gets you through those hard days in general.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, Lady Alva.
Did you ask me a question? I don't think I heard you.
Lady Alva, she's coming up.
Okay. Hey, yes, there I am. What number question are we on? Where did you leave off at, BU? Or you had your own questions? Because I had broke away, so.
You can start at 9.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll start at number 9. But before that, I have something that I got from you personally, Kiore, on your IG page. And you say, between fear and fullness, I create. Between fear and fullness, I create, is what it says. I love that. It caught my attention immediately. It's like, that's all I need. Really. I did troll your page though, but that was just so profound. Tell us about that, what that is for you.
So I actually got this when I went to this conference when I first moved out here called Creative You. And we were basically learning how to make an elevator pitch for ourselves. And I figured out that my pitch was specifically, I am the person that, bridges the gap between fear of oneself and the power of oneself. So that was originally what was on my bio. But then I started thinking deeply about how can I specifically make that make sense to myself, because I knew what it meant and it resonated, but then I'm growing, right? So things are changing. And so I basically have been noticing a lot of difficult challenges for myself in these last few months. And during that space, I didn't know what to do with myself because I was always working or I was always doing for others, right? And in that time space, I realized that I needed to pour into me. I needed to make sure that I am still creating, I'm still doing what I need to do for myself so that I can be that person for other people. So that's where that line kind of came from, between the fullness of myself that I'm looking to get to and the person that I currently am, or even who I was before. In the middle of all that, I'm learning to live the process. I'm learning to create, and that's how we get to the end goal.
Yeah, I love that. So do you think the fear would ever leave? Do you expect for it to leave, or it's okay if it comes and goes, if it still lives within your journey?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I personally wish that fear could go, or I'll say that I used to wish that, because I'm starting to understand that it'll probably always come up. It's just a matter of knowing how to navigate through that. And instead of just seeing it as an enemy, I'm seeing it more like a partnership and seeing how I can work with the fear instead of shining away from it.
Yes, that's perfect. I love it, because when we accept it and work through it, as you said, we can grow.
Yeah.
We can grow. Then we're more equipped to deal with the next level of whatever that is. Beautiful, beautiful, on point. Not many, I don't hear many say that, but it definitely caught my my eye and my heart. Yeah. And I'm sure you know though too, and I heard it, what I can remember, what that was profound too, from Lionel Richie on when he was speaking to someone on American Idol, one of the contestants. But he says all artists have a level of fear that stays with them, or insecurity that stays with them. He said it's part of it. So don't expect it to go, and don't get all just it's here. Yeah, we all have it.
I think that's
Says.
everybody though.
Yeah. But I don't think when he said that, it made me think of something, more into that, because, like you stated, we try to get rid of those things,
Yeah.
and just recognize it and then accepting it, and what do I do with it? And it's okay, But like you said, you push through. Nice. So, what techniques or mediums, Kiore, do you find yourself gravitating towards, and why do they resonate with you?
So my main mediums are songwriting. I do a lot of spoken word or poetry, and then most recently it's been event curation. I've been mainly drawn to them because they all invite vulnerability and some sort of connection happening. And specifically with music and poetry, they kind of let me process my emotions in real time. And, it helps with getting it out, but also feeling a different way than what I felt before I started making it. And then curating has just allowed me to amplify the story that I'm looking to amplify that's beyond my own. So the artists that I'm looking to connect with, the people that I want to co-collaborate with and organize the event with, like, I'm amplifying everyone in the midst of doing that. And that genuinely fills my heart. So.
Oh, nice. So when you write something, and as you just said, when you do like spoken word, you can get a different view or a different feeling of it from when you first wrote it. Does that happen often? And are you ever kind of perplexed about it? Like when you come back to it, like, what am I talking about? Or can you always connect with your own stuff? Or are you like, wait a minute? You go ahead.
Most times, yes, but there has been a lot of moments where I would write something down because things will just pop up in my head all day, and I'll just like voice record it or write it down real quick. I'll come back and I'm like, that's not it. That's not it. I'm gonna throw it out, or I'll try to mix it with something else to make it sound different. But yes, I've had those moments.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think you should throw it out.
It's very rare that I do, but I'll try to like combine it with something else because I have a lot of different like random ideas. So
yeah, because if you wrote it, it has some kind of meaning. It has part of you.
right.
So yeah. All right. How do you foster creativity and innovation in your students, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds?
Okay. So all of the students that I personally have worked with were all they were all within that background, and so because I'm also in that background, I was able to kind of put myself in their shoes, and I knew that like I wanted something that I wanted to give them that something that I personally didn't receive, and so that was a space to feel safe enough to speak my truth, express myself the way that I need to, however that looks. I didn't try to force them to be perfect. I just kind of encouraged expression. I told them to lead with emotion. We talked a lot about culture, and as children, they're naturally curious. So I just told them to just continue to be curious because we live in a world where we're told to not do that, And as I had said before, I used to like help affirm themselves even when I wasn't around through the affirmation that we would do in the mornings. I would have moments where I would ask them certain questions or have them do certain prompts to make sure that they knew that their voice had value from the start.
And what grade are your students?
So we were from grade 1 all the way up into the 4th grade.
Nice. And do you see good results from your students with that type of teaching and philosophy that you're giving them?
I personally do. I definitely do. I think that a lot of them just needed someone to really see them. I think they needed someone to understand them, and not just from someone who just has sympathy for them. But like I said, I'm also a part of the marginalized group. So I truly know what it means to be someone of color who doesn't feel like they're heard or doesn't feel like truly understood because no one wants to take the time to do that. So I just tried to make sure that I was doing that for them. And from the first day I met them up until the last, there was major improvement, especially with the ones that weren't speaking much or like they had a lot of trouble. Like they were showing different sides of themselves, and that was very yeah.
That's very good. That's very good. Every child needs the comfort when they go in school to be seen and be heard. Yeah, that's very good. You never know what's going on in behind the door where people live. They may be getting it, they may not be getting it, but if they are getting that at home, it's a double-edged sword of goodness that they get it in their school too, or in their class with a specific teacher. Yeah. So, what do you hope viewers take away from your artwork when they encounter it?
I want everybody to know that healing is definitely necessary, but it's not going to look the way that most people are probably telling you that's going to look. It's definitely messy. Messy. But it is necessary. And I want them to know that they're not alone in the question that they may have been asking themselves, any of the pain that they currently are carrying or have carried and have been trying to work through. I just want people to feel like my work is more like a mirror to them, and they have someone who understands them, who sees them, and understands that they're not necessarily as crazy as the world has told them that they are, or how they see them.
I love that. I love that, especially that in part. You're not as crazy as the world wants to say that you are. So with that piece right there, what do you feel like? Because the healing is very important, as you stated, and it is messy, and it takes a lot of work and energy. It takes to see yourself and all of that, and not like yourself sometimes. Yeah. So, is it okay to stumble within healing, and does healing ever end?
No. That was a big that was a big pill to swallow. It does not end. But it's a beautiful thing that it doesn't end. You know what I mean? I think that it's okay if something comes in the middle of you trying to heal and it messes up whatever flow you had, because it probably was supposed to happen anyways. Yeah, it's probably supposed to happen anyways. But I do feel like it's not linear. You're not going to see the same thing every single week, every single day, even every single hour. Like your healing is different, and it's different for everyone. So it's not going to look the same way that maybe somebody else is telling you that their healing looks. So you just got to know that.
Yes. Do you believe we all can heal though?
If you want to put the effort in, yes. If you put the effort in to truly change yourself, yes. And not change yourself that's in a negative way, but like, yeah, I think everyone has the opportunity to heal if they truly want that.
Nice. And from that, what's the greatest message that you have right here, right now, that you could give to people, especially the younger generation? Your generation needs a lot of healing.
Yeah, that's true. I think that people need to understand that they don't have to have it all figured out before they can start. You don't have to have like a set rule. You don't have to have like any specific goal other than the fact that you're just trying to do something different than what you're doing today. I think that it's important that you stay connected to whatever makes you feel excited, whatever feels authentic to you, so that you have that as like your guiding light in the midst of all this. Because I'm trying to tell you right now, it is so difficult when you have felt like you surpassed the level of whatever you're trying to reach as far as healing goes. And you get to the point where you're re-triggered, you're thinking everything that you did had no purpose. And it did. It's just showing you like how much strength you have in that. It's showing you what you need to continue to work on, So I think that people need to understand that. People need to, kind of just start. But that's obviously easier said than done. So
yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So people, give yourself grace in your journey.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Montana, you got it. I think it goes to Montana, right?
How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So my question for you would be, in your opinion, what is the significance of representation in the art community, and how do you strive to promote it?
Say that one more time. I think you said that.
In your opinion, what is the significance of representation in the art community, and how do you to promote it?
I think that the representation will basically be creating some sort of safety for yourself. I think that it can be different in many forms, but specifically for me, I feel like, oh, that is so distracting. Um, I can hear myself, but like, I'm low key distracted by that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
so yeah, I personally feel like um, it's really just creating that safe, like I was saying, and making sure that whatever you feel is authentic to you, is what you need to focus on. And so for me, I feel like that's honing in on what vulnerability means, honing in on my emotional expression because I didn't know what that meant. Using whatever I am learning in order to pour that into my art and using that as a way to transform myself, other people, etc. And yeah, I think that if I show people that way and the people who feel what I feel relate to it and they resonate with it, which they should, um, we can come collectively together to make it more of a amplifying thing for not just us, but the people around us. I hope that makes sense.
So more so like a each one teach one type of deal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. I like that. So, is there anybody that like sparked your journey in the art?
And there isn't there isn't one specific person I'll say that, but I'm sitting here thinking about the very first person that's ever like got me excited about my art. But there's just too many people that have inspired me and enlightened me. So I'm not gonna stick to one. So not one specific person, but I've had many people in my life who have poured into me either consciously or unconsciously. And I've taken little pieces from them. But I think I've always had this desire for the art that I make. I didn't think it was going to come in the way that it did, but I've always had that desire. And growing up, I didn't have the ability to tap into it. So I think part of the answer to your question is myself, and then the people that I met along the way. Once I actually start to put faith in my art.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna pass it off for a second. I got Rugrats going crazy outside the other door, so give me just a second. Somebody else take over real quick.
Yeah, we got you, Montana. We got you, baby. All right, Kiore. Just to keep it right on rolling, love.
Oh, I had the question. I was talking. I thought I was off
Go
mute.
ahead. Go,
Yeah, asking her the next question for Montana. I flowed right in, and I'm still on mute. But so, what future projects or exhibitions are you currently working on, and what can we expect from them?
So I'm currently organizing a hybrid event that's going to blend my birthday, a listening party for my debut single, and then a creative community space because I just want to give back to the community for my birthday. So I just decided to create community event instead. And it's more so going to be centered around sensuality, whatever that looks like to the person, authenticity, and some sort of creative expression. There will be performances. I'll be performing myself. It's going to be a really great time. But that's still being in the works as of right now. I don't have anything as far as like a link to sign up yet, but I do have an event that's coming up in July called the Pleasure Picnic.
Pleasure picnic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm co-organizing that with the mutual aid network that has been very helpful with my journey in these last few months, and then just having the same vision as me. And their CT Grapevine on Instagram if you guys are interested in learning more about them. But yeah, It's going to be a great time. That's going to be more of like a potluck type of vibe. Maybe outside. It's also centering around sensuality, but not as heavily as like mine will be. This is more so just coming to get your feel good, whatever that looks like to you. And I think it's going to be dope.
Yes. Where can they get the tickets? Where can they learn about these information? Tell them where they can find all that.
You can either find it on my Instagram, which is Kiore, Kiore.a, or you can also find it on CT Grapevine as well. And on my page, you'll see it. You'll see it. I think it's the second or the third photo, and it's actually the flyer that I created that I was tagged in. So you should see it then, and then you should be able to click on the link in that as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how to get onto these places. How has your experience in the art world shaped your understanding of collaboration in the community building?
Oh man, it's collaboration is so beautiful. Like once it's actually happening, and I personally feel like it's the most powerful thing that can happen when you're truly with people who have the same values as you, and you guys are coming from a place of like authenticity. I think that it takes a lot of intentionality, which I am very big on.
Yes.
Making sure that you guys are checking in with each other. You're not only providing something for them, but you're also uplifting one another. You're creating the systems of care for one another, and you're learning how to build some sort of movement, some sort of moment to get to the goals that you both have together.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna read some of the questions that we asked for some of my audience members. One of them asked, they said, "Do your plans ever go the way that you planned them?"
No, to put it short, it does not, and it's so frustrating when you're learning not to be a control freak. But no, they don't always happen. But that's when you really gotta like start thinking about why it happened, and that is so easier said than done. But think about why it happens, and then learn that it's just really a redirection for you. That's all.
Yes. Also, we have a comment from Maria from the Kitchen House. Earlier, you said something about outcast. She said outcast equals unique, unique equals individual, and individual and creative is all good. Yes.
I love that.
We have some comments from Rodriguez Sanchez. BU, you want to read some of these? Hey, I like that firework you did in the background, Montana. All right, BU can't read today. We got some love. Oh yeah, and this is people from your end said she's a passionate teacher. Says she's pretty dope and definitely has a strong leadership and fire passion. I love it. I love it. Also got other comments speaking on how well that you have been spoken tonight. Real big on things that happens for a reason. Absolutely. So the people are tuning in with you. And we also got comments from Instagram that had it transferred over. If you want to have your comments read in real time, come over to our YouTube channel where your comments can be put up and read while we are live, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but back into our interview. Montana, you got two more questions. You wanna ask Kiore before I take over? Kiore?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, never mind. I guess he's busy because he stayed on mute. We're gonna keep it right on rolling. How do you engage with your supporting artists, particularly those that marginalize the same background?
So I share opportunities. I make sure that I'm collaborating with intention, and then I'm using whatever I learn about them, whatever opportunities that I come across to amplify their work. So that'll be kind of like the work that I do with my artist collective called the Rooted Collective. And I basically put these artists on a platform to gain opportunities. They gain a lot of opportunities through the events that I have, through digital platforms that I may come across as an artist myself. And I just make sure that they're not only just invited, but they're also centered. I try to listen and, support them in any way that they're asking to be supported in.
Okay. So if I'm trying to work with Kiore, how do I get in touch with her? How do I get that collaboration going?
You can always reach me on Instagram.
Yes.
Again, Kiore, Kiore.a. I think that's probably the fastest way to get to me for sure.
All right. Instagram, where she at, y'all? That's where you hit her up at. She said them D box, the inbox is open. Just make sure that it's professional.
Please.
Can you share a transformative experience while you was teaching that changed your perspective on art education?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, this was like the first time I was traditionally teaching, and it was a little intimidating for sure.
Sure,
Just because
for
I
sure.
was always kind of like being an authority figure, and I was still in the process of learning that in just life. So that was difficult, but I think that once I got a handle on it and I started teaching the ways that I had previously mentioned before with the affirmations, the emotional intelligence, etc., I noticed that they were genuinely taking in what I was saying. So, for
Yes.
example, I was working with the first and second graders, and we would do the power words every morning. So I was telling them, or I was showing them what to do. So we would say our affirmations every morning. It would be like, "I am kind, I am creative, I am
Yes.
special as I am," and
Yes. I love it.
that within like a week. I think it was like a week that they memorized it. But what impressed me the most was the song because I was trying to show them, like I said before, that art is in many forms. So one of those forms was through music, and we were working on a theme song together, and it was longer than the power words. And the first and second graders, they knew it to the point where whenever they seen me, they were singing it, or if they see me, pass by someone else's class while they're in class, they would sing it. And I don't know. I think that sometimes you think that what you're teaching isn't always being received, and so being able to see that it was actually working, and not just with me, but also like watching
With
them
the children.
yeah,
Yeah.
like watching them actually talk about it and sing it on their own, even if I'm not around. Like I found
Yes.
so.
Yes, that's definitely dope. That would definitely make me feel like I'm doing the right thing. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it for you. I love it for the children. So I see you got a lot of roles. So how do you balance being an artist, a curator, an educator? What strategies do you use to maintain this balance?
A lot of self-reflection.
Mhm.
I'm also someone who needs a lot of like alone time. I'm realizing
Yes.
that now. So I need a lot of that. I make sure that I walk. I love to walk. Once I like get outside, it's like I'm rejuvenated from that. I enjoy talking to people that I care about, but I think before all of that, I have to genuinely have that space for myself to actually figure out what I'm feeling. Um, and once I'm able to do that, that's when I'll probably end up creating some sort of art. It just naturally happens every time. And once that's out, I feel a whole lot better. And I just kind of stick to the whys, like I was saying before, in order to continue to push me.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Is it a specific message that you feel is urgent that you want to address today, as far as in the art space, or just in general, just anything that you want to bring awareness to?
Yeah, I think that it's important that we just create, regardless of if we think it's perfect or not, regardless if we feel like no one's gonna want to hear it, because there's an audience for everybody, every single person. And once you realize that, you start to not really care about being perceived a certain way or thinking that people won't accept you because the ones who aren't accepting you aren't for you anyways. So, continue to put yourself out there, continue to be louder than fear, which is actually the title of my up and coming EP as well. Be louder than fear. Don't allow fear to control you because it will if you let it. And I think that artists tend to be the most critical about themselves and about their art because it's not always seen as serious, and it is serious. We literally use art to create so many different things, to talk about so many different things, and sometimes that's the only way we can do that. So just remember that, like, what you have to offer is meant for you to put out. So do it.
I love that message that you left. Maria from the Ketchum House, she says, some sources say that children are more lonely and isolated with all the technology around them. So I think that it's fantastic that these children can feel that they are being seen and belong. Yes. So she's admiring what you do. You keep doing what you're doing, love. Yes, ma'am. People are seeing you, and people are impressed with what they see. Um, just like you just told us, everything and everybody's purpose is intentional. Even when it comes to art, we feel like your purpose is intentional for what you're doing as a teacher, curator, and an artist as yourself. What legacy would you like to leave behind as an artist, curator, and educator, love?
I would definitely like to make sure that I'm being remembered as someone who makes people feel like they don't have to hide themselves. No matter where I go in life, that's the main thing. I really do try to make sure people can show up as themselves by just, not judging them, or even if I do, not showing that, you know what I mean, or trying to figure out a way to not judge them, if that makes sense. And I think that World Legacy isn't just from the projects or the events that we have, or the material things. I think it's more so the energy that I bring and the way that I make people feel whenever they're in the room with me. So as long as I'm making people feel seen, heard, or just like a little more free with themselves, I feel like then I was meant to do that, and I've done the job.
Yes, yeah, I love that. I love that. We like to share the sugar around here, so before we close out, we're gonna make sure everybody go back around and got a good. Make sure that everybody wants to have another shot or question at you. But before I give the mic up, I always ask every artist that come on to the show, when you hear the phrase "art for change," what does that mean to you? When you hear that phrase, what just first couple of things that come in your mind?
I see power. I see resistance to a world that is no longer meant to be here. I see change making for sure, not just because that's the name, but genuinely that's the first thing that I think of when I see art for change. And, I think art is meant to make changes. So
Yes, ma'am. I love that. There's no wrong answer. I tell all our artists that come on. BU, you got something for Lady Kiore before we get her out of here?
Yes, Kiore. So I heard you say like you like to keep to yourself and everything. So, but you seem social to me. So are you like a social introvert, or like, or you just pick and choose who you conversate with, like, because you seem social to me, but you seem quiet at the same time.
I can be social around the right people. You know what I mean?
That's the right answer.
I mean, I genuinely like talking to people, but I don't like giving my energy to the people that isn't gonna feed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that like does that hinder you? Like with your career, does that hinder you?
I'm gonna say no because it hasn't. I haven't seen it so far. Like I think this space is where I'm the most social. So it's easy
Mm.
for me to talk to people anyways in these type of spaces versus like I don't know, like on the street. Like I can talk to a stranger, but it's not going to be for a long period of time. Versus someone that I know is a part of the art community, they have something that we can actually like build on as far as conversation goes. Then it's easier to do that.
Okay. All right. Like Matt had a
Overthinking is like putting the brain in a blender.
Oh, you got something for him, Mad Hatter?
I just did say.
Yeah, he just said it. Lady Alva, you got a question for Kiore before we get her out of here?
Yes. So BU touched right where I was going, but I want to open that up a little more, if you will, because you said you need your alone time. Why? And what do you do in it and with it?
Thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I personally need my own time to process because if I don't do that, I'll either react in a way that I don't want to react in, or I'll shove my feelings down and try to act like everything's fine. And so instead of doing that, I'll take time away from the environments that I'm in because I genuinely need to do that. I don't like to give off of bad energy if I can avoid it. So I would go in the space that I'm in by myself and feel what I need to feel. So if I'm forcing myself to cry, if I'm, just sitting here in silence, trying to turn my brain off because overthinking is definitely something that I am working on not doing anymore. And so I try to do that and just like process how I'm feeling. And then once I'm able to feel that, I can articulate how I feel to whoever I need to speak to if I need to do that.
Beautiful and well said. And I also like, because I hear from you protect your creativity. And that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Montana, you got the mic, sir. if he's able, he said his hands were full of juggling, so maybe he's still not able to.
Montana. Okay, he may be.
There he is.
You got the mic, Montana?
I'm
Yeah.
here. I do have a question for you. I heard you say when you said this is when you was teaching traditional. So how untraditional would you say your style is now? Like, cause I love going against the grain. That's one of my main things. I love going against the grain and pushing a different objective. It may, you know what I'm saying, still remain a positive objective, should I say. But, you know what I'm saying, like just going against the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So how could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. So I was lucky enough to, and I say that very, very loosely just because of the situation, but I was lucky enough to be in a private school, and it was about 29 kids throughout the entire school. So the curriculum was, it was one of those. But it was for low income kids who really needed a different type of teaching. So the curriculum was basically up to me, and I say that because they had a certain standard that I had to adhere to, which is where I started to like it started to kind of like not work for me because I'm not that traditional worker, and it was more like you have to make sure that you're doing these sorts of arts and crafts because as an art teacher that's what people see. They see the visual part, they don't see all the other forms of art. And I was trying to show the kids that there are more versions of that. And I think that that was probably the biggest way that I was untraditional in the school, just because, like I said, it was my first time, and I don't think that I fully got to do all that I wanted to do in the first year. But my biggest way of like pushing back was trying to teach them different ways of thinking, being, acting with the art or the way that they are just in general.
That's dope. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
All right. So we got through the serious questions. Now we're going to ask you some fun questions. So I got 3 little fun questions, and then you can plug your socials again, talk about any events that you may have again, and then we'll get you on out of here, love. So these fun questions that I have for you, imagine that you have the power to create a pop-up art exhibit in a completely unexpected location like a subway or a grocery store. What themes would you choose, and what unusual artists or artwork would you feature to surprise and engage with your audience?
That's a really good question. This is something that I'd want to process, but okay. I'm gonna try to do something that I wouldn't normally do. So I'd probably have like one of those art showcases that kind of showcases the different ways that people who are marginal or people of color have shaped music.
Yes.
I would think of like pretty much every genre has been
Yes.
shaped,
Has been influenced. Right. Yes.
So, like, every artist from every genre, or at the very least like 5 different genres.
Yes.
And everyone likes music, so we'd have that music there. And I don't know, I would go crazy with that though. I just thinking about it now.
I love it.
It would be fun. It would be a fun time. But I would definitely do something that's like showcasing. It would probably be called the Blueprint or something. I don't know, but
I love it. Yeah. She would call it the Blueprint. Yeah, it's one in the making. She'll tell you the history of music and show you how every genre has an influence back to African culture. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love that. I love that. So, if your classroom was a canvas, what unconventional colors would you use to represent the diversity personalities of your students? And how would you blend them to create a harmonious learning experience?
Mm, okay, this is how I'm taking the question. How do I how do I take different perspectives and blend them together?
Yeah. Like if your classroom was a canvas, like how would you paint it to represent the personalities of your students?
Oh my gosh.
What unconventional colors they say would you use?
Mm, green, teal, and hmm, maybe like a burnt. Well, I want to say a burnt orange, but I don't really know if I like those colors. Well, I
You
would
are
green and teal. I
green
would
too. All right. Let tell us why you picked those two most definitely.
Green is definitely like an inviting color. I
Yes.
think that anytime I personally have worn green or like we've seen green, it's always been things that represent something good or successful, like money. Um, Blue, I think that's like a soothing, calm color, and it kind of makes the kids feel like they're calm, but they're also free. If that makes sense. Like I don't know how to best explain that, but it it's always been something that I've noticed with the kids whenever they do use that color. It's always something that's expressing freedom or expressing some sort of like calmness, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. And my last one question. If you could transform any object into a masterpiece using just your imagination, what would that object be? And how would you elevate it to significant its piece in the art world? What would you transform? What piece of object would you transform into art?
That's also a good question. Hmm, Dang, I think I might need more time to think.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Can I think about that a little more?
You can think, yes, absolutely. While you thinking about that, how about this? While you thinking about that question, you leave us with something that you want the people to know tonight. A closing statement for the people, if you will, and where to find Kiore, where to interact with her, where would she be, where all her events would be. Plug all that information one more time for the people.
Okay. I want you guys to know that it is okay to be whoever you know you are to be. And it's okay to be different from everybody else. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to accept that you as an artist is probably not going to look the same as the other artists that you might be inspired by. And that's okay. Excuse me, because people need that. So just remember that. Remember to keep pushing yourself, no matter how hard that is, and continue to flourish in your art, and that's going to change too. Be okay with that. You can follow me at on Instagram, Kiore Kiore.a, and all of my information as far as any events, anything that I do, will always be posted on there. So if you follow that, you'll pretty much get everything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for being with us tonight, giving us your time and attention. We greatly appreciate it. You said that you got a song that you're going to come out with backstage. So whenever you're ready to drop that song, love, you come over here so that we can hear it in world premiere. Yes. Tell the people to tell a friend to lock in to Art for Change. If you know any other curators, bring them on in, invite them in. Before we get you out of here, one more time for my co-hosts. Anybody want to say something to Kiore before we get her out of here? Yeah.
I wanna piggyback off what she said. It's okay to be different.
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, I want to piggyback off that. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, it's been a pleasure. You keep being a powerhouse. Love. You keep being awesome in your right. Yes. We need more people like you, especially in the teacher space, because these students in these small minds definitely need something positive to look up to. So hats off to you, Queen. You keep doing what you're doing. Until next time, we appreciate you. Yes.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. That was Kiore Andrews. Yes. Artist and creative curator, and she's going to come drop that single on us whenever she drop it. Until next time, peace, love.
Peace.
All right, y'all. How y'all like that show tonight, man? How y'all like that show? That was a good show. It was a good show. We like Kiore. I like Kiore. I
Yes,
loved all
indeed.
the creative curators that come on the show, all the artists that come on the show. Art teachers in this world keep being great because these kids need somebody innovative to look up to, for sure.
Yep.
Before we close out, anybody else want to go around the room and say a closing statement for the people? We missed a question. She had a question. Did you collaborate with artists in other states? Uh, I don't. I believe she does create. She's not here no more. Maria, I'm sorry, I forgot this question late. But I do think that she did say she collaborated with artists from everywhere. If you want to collaborate with Kiore, make sure that you get her on her Instagram. All right. Great show. She was such a sweetheart. Yeah, she is definitely such a sweetheart. We need more sweet souls like Miss Kiore. Ladies and gentlemen,
She was very nice. Yes, definitely.
yes. Lady Alba, you got something for the people, love?
Yes, I do. So
Talk to 'em.
when you paint or when you visualize your colors, whatever colors they are, just splat them out to the world. Splat.
Yes,
Keep
I love
creating.
it. Montana Cobain, you got something for the people?
The
We
wave
can't hear you. You on mute, Montana. You on mute, brother.
Oh, these them art for change Air Maxes, you know what I'm
Hey,
saying? Right,
Hey,
yeah, you know.
hey, hold
hey.
up. I got a pair too. Hold up, y'all. All right,
He said
y'all
it's
keep
some art for
going.
chain Air Maxes, baby.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But great show, man. Sorry I got joined on so late, man. But she was definitely a sweetheart. Definitely, you know what I'm saying, caught a five vibe. I really caught traction. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Oh
I
Lord,
really
they said Lady Alba showing some skin tonight.
Yeah.
She got the girls out.
Say Lady Alba got the skin showing tonight.
Phoenix person. You know how we do.
But
Yeah.
It's hot
Hey,
too.
Montana, we on the same page, bro.
hey,
Hey.
ooh,
And the
ooh,
same colors too.
ooh, I
The
like that.
basics. Hey, we on the
Hey,
same page.
I
hey,
love it. I
like
love
them.
it.
I like that. I like it.
I love to see the art for
Hey,
change diversity. Man, had a
yeah,
Marshall, were you back there in the cut, baby? You got something for the people to close out?
At one time, the message in the bottle was just a drunken note.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
I love it. BU, what you got for the people, brother?
Hey, it's okay to be crazy. Because y'all just know me. Hey, it's okay to be crazy. Nah, but like, cause she spoke about craziness and how craziness got her through. But it's okay to be crazy because it gets you to where you need to be, and you know it's awakening. And I'll leave it at that.
Hell yeah. I love it, brother. I love it. Man, y'all know what it is, man. This is Art for Change. We go live 3 nights a week. That is Monday, that is Thursday, that is Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you like this show and if you like any other show that we have had, don't forget to like and subscribe, to tell a friend or tell a friend. Hit that bell so you know that when we go live, because sometimes we may go live in the middle of the week. And if you are an artist of any discipline of art and you would like to need it, or you would like or would love to come on a platform that showcase you, allow you to do your thing, and allow people to get to know you on a more personal level, Art for Change is that space. We interview you, then we give you the window to showcase your artistry, because that's what we really about. Also, if it's any type of social injustice that you haven't heard on here that you want to bring awareness to, that is really another reason why we created Art for Change. So please write us and let us know that so we can bring awareness to these things. And I may not share it all on iReal, but I don't think that when y'all send y'all messages in that we don't read them. We do read them. And when we will get back to you in a timely fashion at our convenience. You see you shaking your head, or you agreeing with what I'm saying, my boy? Hey, but thank y'all, everybody, and we enjoyed Miss Kiore's insight. We need more creative teachers in that space doing y'all thing. We appreciate y'all, and until next time, man, peace and love. And if you ain't doing nothing else, and if you're an artist, you better be arting for change. Peace.